Hi guys, and welcome to, let me angle this just a little. Hi guys, and welcome to another book haul. This one is all for young adult. These are all digital copies, so all ebooks. They were at some point free on Amazon. Sometimes a book will be free one day and the next day it's like $4, and then the next day it's $1, and then the next couple days later it's free again. So you just got to keep an eye out. I do get an email notification. I saw how to sign up for this email on Instagram, and I haven't seen the ad since, so I don't know how to sign up for that notification because I just followed the steps from that ad. But let's go ahead and get into this. I have a total of 27 books to tell you about today, so let's go ahead and get into this. So again, these are all young adult. I will tell you the genres as far as the tags, if it's fantasy, science fiction, all of that. All I know is that these are all young adult. So let's go ahead and get into this, and I'll give you more information. So this first one I'm going to tell you about is called God of the Sun. This is book number 1 in the Stella and Soul series, written by Kimberly Loth. This has 1,008 ratings with an average of 3.66. As far as genres, it does say this is a fantasy, romance, paranormal, has magic. That's it. So, because then it's just a play on words like fantasy, paranormal, fantasy, romance, young adult fantasy, paranormal romance. So it's just a play on all those different words. So, okay, getting into the synopsis, this one says, on the other side of the wall, I will probably die. But I had to cross the fog. Otherwise, my sister, my best friend, would lose her unborn child, all because of an unexpected prophecy. Okay, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. Let's see. Now I had to go to Seoul, a place where they murdered my people for sport. It wouldn't matter that I was a prince. They would see me as an enemy. Not only that, I had to find a way to convince their princess to marry me. If I failed, then death would come upon us all. But first, the baby would die. Let's see. It says, with breathless romance, unexpected betrayal, and a ruthless hidden dictator, this incredible fantasy will leave you begging for more. We will see about that when I read it. So, okay, moving on, I have Heresy, I'm guessing is how it's said. This is book number 1 in the Heretics saga, written by C.A. Campbell. This has 96 ratings with an average of 4.63. As far as tags, there are no tags. So let's read the synopsis and see if we can kind of guess the genre. So, in Arcadia, being different is heresy. Heresy is death. To survive, citizens must live, dress, and even love according to the United Council's will. So that sentence alone kind of makes me wonder if it's going to be dystopian on some level. Let's see. Their power is absolute until a rebel bomb ignites at a national ceremony and unites the lives of 3 unlikely people when the bombing goes wrong. Nicole Howell, a young heretic, finds himself alone and on the run, bearing secrets that Arcadia would kill for. When she's captured, she must escape. But now can she, when her best chance lies with the son of her sworn enemy? Driven by the execution of an innocent, Jacob Osgood, a United Counselor's son, hunts for the truth about the heretic movement that Arcadia has hidden. But truth could cost him the one thing he cannot stand to lose, the girl who saved his life at the bombing. Shiloh Haven, the orphan daughter of heretics, is forced to become Arcadia's spy in a sinister plot to destroy the heretic army. She faces a terrible choice, survive or risk everything to save the boy she might just love, and the rebels who are her only chance of being free. As their fates entwine, the 3 must answer an impossible question. What would you die for? So I'm kind of wondering if this is going to be a dystopian, post-apocalyptic, but definitely it sounds very dystopian-esque to me. So, I don't know. Okay, up next I have Theo and the Forbidden Language. This is book number 1 in the Book of Theo, written by Melanie Ansley. This has 112 ratings with an average of 4.18. As far as genres, fantasy is the only one listed. Alright, so the synopsis says, in the isolated rabbit village of Walago, introverted Theo has a secret. So I'm wondering if Theo is a rabbit. All right. Even though reading and writing were long ago outlawed as sorcery, Theo can't resist the books hidden in the family cupboard. When a mysterious owl arrives... Okay, this is told from animals' perspectives. Okay. When a mysterious owl arrives with a priceless collar, all rabbits try to unlock it, but fail. Theo is the only one to realize it's a word puzzle, and rearranges the collar's stones to form a sentence. When the village elders learn that Theo has broken the law yet again, they imprison him. Okay, so this will be interesting, reading it from a rabbit's perspective. Yeah. Normally when I read a book, it's maybe a shapeshifter or a human that has an animal companion. Nothing comes to mind other than like maybe children's books when I was really little. Nothing comes to mind. Well, no, I read like Pig the Pug books, and those were told from a dog's perspective, but those are picture books or children's books. I haven't ever read a young adult that I can think of that's told from the perspective of the animal. I mean, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but that's told from the human's perspective, and they're talking to animals that can talk. So this will be a little different. Okay. Continuing on with the synopsis, it says, in the dead of night, he is freed by Brune, an axe-wielding bear who believes Theo has a different destiny. They escape to Mankahar, a land where the human empire is robbing animals of speech using a potion called pacification. The empire will march to the furthest corners of the land, enslaving all animals to use on their farms, including the rabbits of Walago. The only thing standing in the empire's way is the Order, a society of free animals determined to defend their way of life. Brune, a member of the Order, convinces Theo to join him in their fight. But Brune's cause proves dangerous. Whom can Theo trust when the empire punishes those who read and write, or write with death? Worse, his fellow animals view the written word as sacrilegious. As the battle for Mankahar's fate looms, Theo must risk everything, including love, to learn the full power of the forbidden language or be silenced forever. Okay, I am intrigued. It sounds good, and especially where it's from a rabbit's perspective. That definitely puts a different spin on things. Okay, moving on, I have Girl on Honeysuckle Avenue, written by Clark Graham. This looks like it might be a standalone. 17 ratings with an average of 4.12, so definitely not well known. This came out January of 2022, so it's been out for almost a year and a half, but there's not a lot of ratings, so definitely not well known. And this one says, Austin's life couldn't get much worse, or so he thought. When he spies the girl sunbathing in a backyard, she runs, but then turns and smiles at him. He doesn't know it, but that smile brings with it danger, as a man with a gun lurks in the shadows. No one Austin talks to knows who she is, but they all agree Austin should stay away from her. Still, he wants to know who the girl is on Honeysuckle Avenue. Man, I struggled with that. Not quite sure. I'm guessing maybe romance, contemporary romance. I don't know, because there's no tags, so I'm not sure on that. Let's go ahead and move on to Strong. This is book number 1 in Armstrong series book, written by Jenay Sherman. And this only has 2 ratings with a 4.5 average. No additional tags to tell you about. So the synopsis says, Metro has a secret. He's a super genius, and his family comes from the underground guardian race. Tired of living in his superhero wannabe brother's perfect shadow, Metro creates a serum that makes him super strong, but fills him with uncontrollable rage. That sounds like steroids. Okay. Which is great for beasting his brother on the football field, but not so convenient when trying to fit in among the normals in the high school hallways. But some guardians are no longer content with blending in. A rebellion is stirring, and Metro's serum is exactly what they need to drag the entire race out of hiding. Will Metro be able to control his waning powers enough to keep his warring powers enough to keep his family's secrets? Or will his rage cause him to expose the Guardians and change the course of history? Looks like Metro secrets are about to come out. So this one sounds like it's going to be maybe fantasy. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And the cover I'm seeing on Goodreads definitely gives fantasy-esque vibes with the color palette and the potion bottle. It definitely gives fantasy vibes. Okay. Moving on, I have Steele Secrets. This is book number 1 in the Steele Secrets series, written by Andi, Cumbo-Floyd. 130 ratings with an average of 4.32. Fantasy, paranormal, and mystery are the tags on this. So at least there's some tags there, so I kind of know. This one says, ghosts just don't show up for anybody. So when I meet the spirit of a former slave named Moses, I know he needs my help. But I didn't expect to be taken on half of my town. Wait. Okay, but I didn't expect to be taking on half of my town or the powerful men who seem to run everything and have done for years. Okay. Let's see. Secrets are being uncovered and some people would do anything to keep them buried, no matter who gets hurt. I'll need the help of history and friends I can trust if I want to save Moses' graveyard and protect his legacy. If only everyone believed it was one worth protecting, whatever that means. Okay, let's go ahead and just move right on. Next up, I have The Key. This is book number 1 in the True Rain series, written by Jennifer Ann Davis. Okay, now this one is definitely more well known. This is a fantasy, romance, historical fiction. It does say high fantasy, mystery, and then it's just a combination of all those words. This has 6,034 ratings with an average of 3.92. So it's almost at a 4-star average rating. For that many ratings, I think that's pretty good. Now, the synopsis reads, a 17-year-old Rima lives in a brutal kingdom where travel between regions is forbidden. People are starving, and looking at someone the wrong way can mean death. Well, that's pretty much the way it is nowadays. So, let's see. 19-year-old Dharmic is the king's son and commander of the king's army. He spends his days roving the island, doing his father's bidding, and trying to maintain control over the people. When a chance encounter throws Rima and Dharmic together, they share an instantaneous connection, but any sort of relationship between them is strictly forbidden. Dharmic's brother, the crown prince, notices Dharmic's interest in Rima and, in a calculated political move, blackmails her. Faced with an impossible choice, Rima is forced to sacrifice her heart in order to save her family. As Rima is taken to the palace with the crown prince, Dharmic confronts the growing rumor that a legitimate blood heir to the throne exists and is trying to overthrow Dharmic's family. In Dharmic's quest to hunt down and kill the threat, he discovers that nothing is as it seems. Locked in the king's castle, Rima finds herself a key player in a massive power struggle. When Dharmic shows up, she's not sure if she can trust him. The line between friends, enemies, and loyalty becomes blurred. As truths are unlocked, Rima understands that she might be the key to finding the rightful heir and restoring peace to the kingdom, if she can manage to stay alive long enough. Okay? Alright. Sounds pretty good. And for those of you who might not know, I'm looking down off to the side because I have the synopsis is pulled up on tabs here on my computer. Makes it quicker rather than trying to pull up each individual one on my phone. So this just works out a lot better. Okay, up next I have The Ravens, written by Jacobi. 20 ratings with an average of 4.5. No additional tags, so let's... I don't want power of female friendships. Okay. All right, here we go. 17-year-old Charlie Foster's power of empathy is so strong. It's probably magic. Bullied and labeled a freak, Charlie is friendless until she meets fellow empaths Bryn and Joss, who together create the Ravens, a circle for girls who feel too much, vowing that this is the year they'll rise. So I'm wondering where it said magic in there, if this is going to be fantasy. Or magical realism, maybe? I don't know. It isn't long before they are given the chance to do just that. When the high school English teacher is rumored to have sexually assaulted a number of girls at school. All right, so trigger warning right there. Okay, including Bryn. Joss wants the Ravens to spring into action and expose the truth. The problem, the accused teacher is Charlie's father. When Charlie chooses to defend him instead of fight, the Ravens disband, leaving each of the girls alone to battle for justice, and, in the process, discover the true sources of their magic and power. Okay, so this does pretty much confirm that this is going to be probably fantasy or at least magical realism. Let's see. It does say this is told through rotating points of view of Charlie, Bryn, and Joss. So we'll have 3 POVs. It explores outcasts and friendships, assault and survivorship, and the power of raised voices and the capacity of ordinary magic. Alrighty. Moving on, I have Finding Obsidia, I'm guessing. This is book number 1 in the Realm of Knowledge, written by T.N. Watson. 79 ratings with an average of 4.05. Now, genres, fantasy is the only one. These are all young adult fictions. These are all fiction. So this one is a fantasy. It says, a mortal woman, an immortal world. Can her heart survive the dangerous land her eyes were never meant to see? 17-year-old Alexis Mackey only ever wanted one thing, for the boy next door to finally notice her. But a split second is all it took to change everything. When she travels to a remote Canadian island with her geologist parents to monitor seismic activity, she finds herself trapped in the epicenter. Alone in a cave, struggling to free herself from the rubble, she stumbles into a mysterious land of tropical forest and mythical creatures. Stepping into unfamiliar surroundings, she's saved from the deadly claws of a vicious beast by handsome strangers who offer to help her find a way home. But with rebels closing in on discovering her true identity, and the ruling magistrate sealing up the portals to their secret realm, Alexis fears they may never let her leave. As the doorway closes and her feelings for her rescuer bloom, she wonders if going back is what she truly wants. Will she risk the perilous journey to her own world and lose her new love forever? New YA series, fast-paced action, sharp-witted heroes, alternate realms, timeless romance. So, and mythical dimension. So, that's the additional information that I have. Okay. Next, I have First Kiss. This is book number 1 in the Kit and Tully series. Not quite sure how to say that. Written by Mocha VanBee. I'm sure I said that wrong. Romance, contemporary are the tags. Love or music. Okay. 102 ratings with an average of 3.42. I'm sure I skipped that. Okay. Love or music, which should they choose and what price will they have to pay? When new guy Tully, I'm guessing, falls for 16-year-old Kit, he needs to find a way to win her over. Because right now, she only has eyes for scorching hot lead singer Mac Whitehead, who's turning every head in town. Okay. Neither believe a half-forgotten legend is true. But once a sleeping Celtic god awakens, it's too late to turn back, too late to refuse his offer. Love or music. Set in a small Irish town in the 1990s. It's a story of first love, coming of age, and a Fadizan pact. I'm not sure what that is. But hey, set in the 1990s. I'm definitely intrigued because of that alone. I liked the 90s. Okay. Let's see. Up next, I have Illustrated Girl. This is, I believe it's book number 1. Doesn't tell me for sure, but it's part of the Chronicles of Lucitopia. This was written by Josephine Angelini. 38 ratings with an average of 4.34. So I'm not quite sure. Oh, the cover does say it's book 1. So this is book 1. Okay, good to know. As far as the genre tags, it says it's a fantasy. Okay, ever wish you could travel inside your favorite book and become the main character? Of course you have. Everyone has. But if you ever manage to pull it off, here's a tip. Timing is everything. Take Holly, for example, who, after saying a spell, is transported inside a fairy tale called Lucitopia, a magical world infested with grifter grandmas, halitosis-riddled bandits, and devoid of functioning toilets. Okay. Holly becomes Princess Pleasant, exactly as she wished, but she gets there too late, ruining the story, allowing for Asphodel, the evil sorcerer, to turn Lucitopia into a tetanus-ridden hellhole. Okay, this sounds like it's going to be very bizarre. Okay. Now it's up to Holly to make things right, and with the help of the freakishly handsome yet frustratingly virtuous Sir Torvald the Bold, Holly must find a way to turn Lucitopia into the fairy tale story she signed up for in the first place. One small hitch. If Holly doesn't get out of Lucitopia in 15 days, she'll be stuck there for the rest of her life, which probably won't be much longer considering she's overdue for her shots. Okay, this next book, there is no synopsis on Goodreads, but this is called The Fairy Tale, written by Axone Jr. Guessing that's how it's said. On Goodreads, there's 10 ratings with a 4.6 average. There's no genre tags. So I do have this up on Amazon. On Amazon, there's 12 ratings with a 4.5 average. All this one says is The Fairy Tale is a truly astonishing debut novel. When two students learn about a chemical that will make everybody beautiful, it is obvious they must make it widely available. But will universal beauty make humans feel free, or will it create new problems? My guess is it's going to create new problems. Meanwhile, two fairylands above them are engaged in a war over the very same question. That's it. So I'm guessing fantasy. So, all right. This next one is a fantasy. It is titled Blue Moon Eyes, written by Leah Copeland. 75 ratings with an average of 4.44, and this is book number 1 in the Wolves of Shadow Grove series. This one says, when the supernatural world claims you, you have two options, death or becoming a monster. I choose survival. I'd done it. I'd scored the biggest audition of my life in New York City. It was my chance to leave Shadow Grove and save my mom from our financial burdens. But an accident that should have killed me totally changed my reality. It was freaking crazy, but werewolves existed. And now that I'd seen them, the supernatural world had its grip on me. Now I'm running for my life, and the only hope I have for survival is Aiden Daniels, the future alpha of the Shadow Pack. He's guarded, moody, and probably the hottest guy I've ever seen with these hauntingly blue eyes. So he has hauntingly blue eyes, I'm guessing. Do I trust him? Not really. But what choice do I have when nothing is as it seems? Upper YA paranormal romance. Fast-paced action, protective alpha, and forbidden slow burn romance. Okay. Alrighty, let's go ahead and move on to the next book. The Affiliate. This is book number 1 in Ascension series, written by K.A. Lindy. 3,802 ratings with an average of 3.76. So almost a 4-star. As far as genre tags, fantasy, romance, magic, paranormal, and then it's just a play on the combination of those words. Okay. It says, on the day of her presenting in front of the entire Bren court, 17-year-old Serene Storm's lifelong plans come to fruition when she's chosen for one of the most prestigious positions in her homeland, an affiliate to the Queen, or so she thinks. When Serene receives a mysterious letter and an unreadable book, she finds nothing is as it seems. Thrust into a world of dangerous political intrigue and deadly magic, Serene's position only grows more treacherous when she finds herself drawn to the one man she can never have, King Edric himself. Serene must decide if love is truly worth the price of freedom. So, there you go. Okay. Alrighty. Moving on. I don't know what else to say. It says, Bad Boys Don't Date Clumsy Girls. I do like the title. It sounds like it's going to be kind of comedic. This is listed as a romance. And this was written by, looks like it's a standalone, written by K.E. Strand. 102 ratings with a 4.2 average. Okay. When the school's bad boy infiltrates her shelter, will she lose her sanctuary or her heart? Hopelessly clumsy Ava is focused on graduation and keeping both feet on the ground to have a boyfriend. She has enough to worry about with less than ideal home life. With a less than ideal home life. Okay. Bad boy Dylan can't help but find Ava's klutziness entertaining. That doesn't mean he wants to date her. When court-ordered community service forces them together at the animal shelter, Ava fears she's lost her refuge. Dylan's arrogance gets under her skin, and she finds it unforgivable. The dogs prefer him after everything she's done for them. Okay. Definite jealous of an animal. Okay. A spontaneous water fight heats things up, and suddenly she anticipates each meeting, but his reputation might be too much for her to overlook. Will Ava be forced to find a new escape, or will she stumble her way into his heart? Lighthearted, clean, young adult romance. Oh, this is a series. It says it's the book 1 in the Oak Grove High series. It will make you cringe, cry, and cackle. Okay. So it is part of a series. Okay. Next up, I have Numbers Game, written by Rebecca Road. This is book number 1 in the Numbers Game series. 1,669 ratings with a 3.97 average. As far as genre tags, it lists dystopian, science fiction, romance, fantasy, post-apocalyptic, and speculative fiction. So quite a few tags that this one falls under, it looks like. Alright, the synopsis says, Trina is nervous for rating day. A single number will brand her forever, a vulnerable citizen or a pathetic waste of space. Her top-rated boyfriend is confident their scores will coincide so they can attend the academy together. But when the big day arrives, her true number shocks everyone. So I'm guessing maybe she's a waste of space, according to that. To get her life and boyfriend back, she must go undercover and expose a military spy. Doesn't sound too hard, except that someone wants her dead. And then there's Vance, the mysterious soldier with a haunted past and beautiful brown eyes. Together they discover a dark numbers conspiracy, one that shatters the nation's future. Trina must join up with Vance if she wants to survive the dangerous game of numbers and the terrible war that rages within her heart. So definitely sounds dystopian-esque. So that tag is definitely fitting. Okay. Next up, I have The White Slipper by Brittany Fichter. This is book number 1 in the Never Told Fairy Tale series. This has 72 ratings with a 4.63 average. This does say it is a clean fairy tale retelling of The White Slipper. I've never heard of The White Slipper. I don't know if it's a tell on maybe Cinderella. It does say, it's just what I told you, fairy tale, fantasy, it does have fantasy, retellings, clean romance, so that's nothing more to really add to that. So let's dive into the synopsis. What can a poor apothecary offer to the princess who has it all? In this fairy tale retelling of The White Slipper, Princess River is the envy of all her peers, for her doting father has always promised her she could marry for love. But when he loses the healing slipper that prevents his ghastly foot injury from killing him, he makes a horrifying edict. The man who makes him an identical slipper and saves his life shall have River's hand in marriage. To River's chagrin, such a man, poor and unknown, does come forward, claiming he's found the secret cure. But River, discontent to helplessly hand over her future and her kingdom, seeks to learn about his past. To her surprise, however, her search reveals far more than she ever expected, but far more in a good or a bad way. I'm guessing bad. This mysterious young man may not only hold the true secret to helping her father, but he might be the one who claimed her heart long ago. Oh, so maybe it's actually a good secret. Okay. Standalone fairy tale retelling novellas. This is 190 pages according to Goodreads. Lesser known tales is told by Wendy and Peter Pan. Oh, so these are like from Wendy and Peter Pan, like when Wendy was telling her brothers the stories. So maybe it's from that. I don't know. Okay. All right. That actually sounds pretty good. I am intrigued. Okay. Let's move on. I have A Dagger in the Winds, written by Brendan Noble. This is book number 1 in the Frostmarked Chronicles series. This has 100 ratings with an average of 4.27. As far as the tag, this is fantasy. The Kindle edition says it's 663 pages, so this is a chunker. It says, an outcast cursed since birth, a witch chosen by a goddess, torn apart by fate, together they can they save their tribe from eternal winter? Okay. All Waclaw has ever dreamed of is belonging and purpose, except he's never actually dreamed. Each night his soul leaves his body, allowing him to wander invisibly until he wakes. He'd do anything to know why. Even give a blood offering to the goddess of winter and death. Okay. As a priestess of spring, there's no one Otilla hates more than the winter goddess, except maybe her once best friend, Waclaw. It's been 4 years since she saved his life using forbidden magic. Her thanks, abandonment. She didn't need him anyway. But when Otilla discovers Waclaw bearing the winter goddess's mark on what should be the first day of spring, she realizes the horrific truth. Winter will not end, and he's her only hope of discovering why. It says, embark on an epic journey through a world rooted in Slavic mythology and folklore. Okay, so that piques my interest. Has powerful gods, menacing beasts, cursed forests, forbidden romance, and plenty of secrets to uncover. My thing with the fantasy, at least with contemporary and romance, I generally have a much easier time pronouncing the character's name and location places. But when it's fantasy, everything is made up generally, so I tend to have a much harder time pronouncing names and names of characters and places. So, all right, moving on, I have Sabiha's Dilemma, I'm guessing is how it's pronounced. Looks like this one is a standalone from what I can see, unless it mentions it further on down. This was written by Amra Pajalic, I'm guessing. I'm sure I said that wrong. I apologize, but that's my guess. Okay, 143 ratings with a 3.65 average. Tags, you have romance, Australia, and mental illness. So, and I can see the word of one of the mental illnesses that we'll be talking about. Let's see. Okay. Sabiha and her mother, Bara, are more than mother and daughter. They are best friends. It's been them against the world, with Sabiha being her mother's career and confidant during her periodic bipolar breakdowns. So there you go. It's going to have bipolar. When their extended family comes to Australia, Bara becomes a born-again Muslim to impress them and expects Sabiha to step in line as the perfect daughter. Can Sabiha play the part of the good daughter so that her mentally ill mother is accepted back into the Bosnian community? I don't think I've read anything with Bosnian representation or culture. That will be interesting. I am intrigued by that. Sabiha's Dilemma is the first... this is a series. I wish it would say it further up. Sabiha's Dilemma is the first in the Sassy Saints series for fans of fake friendships, love triangles, loners, and outcasts who are searching for belonging, and fierce and funny girls. So, okay. So it is the first in a series. Okay, moving on. We have Waking Spero, I'm guessing. This was written by IQ Malcom, 49 ratings with a 4.02 average. The only genre tag is science fiction. That's literally all it tells me. Okay. It says, crashed without a clue, stranded on a strange world, caught in the fight of their lives. Aspiring teenage artist Jenay thought he was free from facing struggle like his father, but he'd rather be back in his family butcher shop when he wakes in a downed escape pod with a feral girl and cute-looking kid cadet on a faraway planet. And with carnage on the horizon and a gap in his memories, he'll need more than his artistic instincts to stay alive. 2045 is the last year that Space Force Academy recruit Clover can remember. And though she's desperate to honor her father's military legacy by surviving the massive impact, she fears her 2 charges are casualties waiting to happen. So she goes with the only viable option, take the lead to guarantee all 3 make it through the alien jungle's deadly night. Battling conflicting personalities and dodging close encounters with native creatures, Jenay struggles to keep it together in the hostile environment, and Clover finds herself stretched to the limit, keeping everybody alive when their search for answers unleashes an avalanche of peril. Can they survive the savage lands before the extraterrestrial wildlife tears them apart? It does say this is a trilogy. If you like thrilling surprises, friendships forged under pressure, and otherworldly quests, then you'll love this fast-paced adventure. Not quite sure what I'm going to think just from that synopsis, but I don't know. Hopefully that'll be good. Okay, so up next I have Stella Barone McGilvray, written by Amy Zinn, and there's no genre tags. So let's see if we can see what the heck this is actually, maybe what the genre is. Okay, 16-year-old Stella dreams in such detail that she can't be sure which side of wakefulness is reality. Some days she is Stella Barone, private school rich girl, and others she is Stella McGilvray, poor waif from the East Valley. She lives in the same city, only a matter of miles, and a full week apart. Diagnosed with nightmare disorder. Never heard of that. Doesn't mean it's not real or anything. I've just personally never heard of that. Okay. Diagnosed with nightmare disorder, Stella's condition becomes especially significant when her friend starts disappearing on both sides of wakefulness. Someone is taking them. Okay, so her friends are disappearing. Let's see. Someone is taking them, and she has the peculiar means of finding out who, if only she can avoid being taken herself. Okay, I'm going to pull up an extra tab here. We're going to go to Google. And I'm going to type in nightmare. Looks like that is an actual... It is a legitimate thing. Okay. And that's the thing with fiction. Sometimes it's like they'll come up with things and they're not real. So I didn't know if this was or not. It says nightmare disorder is a pattern of repeated, frightening, and vivid dreams that affects your quality of life. So that makes sense that this would be a disorder. It ranges from mild to severe and can be short-term or chronic. Nightmare disorder is treatable with various psychotropies and medications. It commonly affects people with post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay, wow, we learned, at least I did, I learned something new today. Okay, moving on, I have The Twin Stars, written by Bridget Portman. This is book number 1 in the Cosima Saga series. Oh, and I forgot to tell you how many ratings and all of that for the other book, and I've clicked out of that tab. Oh well. This one, The Twin Stars, has 67 ratings with a 4.15 average. The genre tags are fantasy, science fiction, mental health, and magic. Okay. A magical journal, a world savaged by its own sons, an evil prince, a princess in hiding, and a teenage girl who learns to be the hero of her own story. 16-year-old, it's either Olive or Olivie, Josie, Olivie, I'm going to say, has obsessive-compulsive disorder and can't stop worrying about hurting the people she loves. She finds refuge in writing about Cosima, a magical princess on a distant planet. Cosima is fearless, confident, and perfect. Everything Olivie thinks she will never be. When she falls through a portal into her own unfinished story, she finds herself in a world in peril. Double suns scorch the land. The brutal prince Bernash seeks supreme power, and Cosima is nowhere to be found. Together with her friends and bold poet Oh, a bold poet, a cursed musician, a renegade soldier, and an adventurous girl from the desert. She will have to face her deepest fears to find the hero in herself. Portal fantasy in the spirit of Wizard the Oz, the never-ending story, and the Chronicles of Narnia. Okay, so I have read the Chronicles of Narnia. I know the Wizard of Oz. I've seen the, I've seen it. I haven't read it, and same thing with the never-ending story. So, but I have read the Chronicles of Narnia, so I am kind of intrigued. Okay. This next one, there is no synopsis on Goodreads, so I do have it on Amazon. Goodreads says this has 12 ratings with a 4.08 average, and this is for One More Sunset by Aiden Sheffer. It doesn't even give me genre tags. So, moving over to Amazon, this has 24 ratings with a 4.4 average. I don't know. It's still... if I scroll down, does it give me the genre? It does not. It's not giving me a genre. So let's go ahead and read the synopsis and see if we can kind of figure out what the main genre is at the very least. Okay. Some sunsets you want to last forever. Billy Armstrong was never going to be straight and narrow. Punk music, gang violence, and terrorizing the streets of downtown New York were all he had going. When Billy is caught vandalizing his school's chemistry lab, he is sentenced to 50 hours of community service at the local hospital. It is there that he meets Jenny, kind, cheerful, and permanent resident of the hospital's cancer ward. Although Billy knows they are worlds apart, he can't help but gravitate towards Jenny's optimistic, thoughtful demeanor. Sunset after sunset, through deep, long conversations over art, music, and life, Billy sees a whole new world through Jenny's eyes. And as Billy's two worlds begin to collide, he must choose the one he wants to live in. It says this is set in downtown Manhattan's rhythmic, multicultural world of the 1970s. Okay, and this sounds like it's going to be a hard-hitting contemporary. So, okay. All right, moving on. I only have 4 more to tell you about in this video. This next one is called Meet Me at the Bus Stop, written by M.J. Ray. This is book number 1 in the Aerosmith High series. As far as the genres go, we have romance, contemporary, and then just a play on those. This does look like it's a novella, as this is only 144 pages for the Kindle. So definitely a short story. This one has 277 ratings with a 3.94 average. So the synopsis says, there are rules when you agree to a fake relationship. Don't let it get real. So that tells me it's going to have fake dating. Okay. Rosie is tired, so tired of being bullied, so she bravely starts a new school. She wants to blend in without any trouble coming her way. Her plus-size figure gets her notice for all the wrong reasons. So we have plus-size representation. Okay. So that will be refreshing to read about because I don't see that very often. Let's see. She wants peace, but when the bad boy has a proposition for her that will help her overcome her fears, Rosie has to decide whether it's worth the risk. Liam needs Rosie. She has to help him, and he sees how she wants to be invisible when she can be so much more. So it seems like he is looking past her weight and her size, which is good. His idea to a fake relationship will help them both, if he can convince her. When Liam's ex decides she isn't done with him and causes trouble for Rosie, she wonders if she's made the biggest mistake of her life. How will Rosie survive this new school and resist falling for the guy that believes in her? Let's see. This is the first and a heartwarming yet exciting introduction to endearing characters in a series. If you love relatable heroines, bad boys, and a story dealing with everyday teen problems, you'll love these romances. The cover on Goodreads is really cute. Okay, let's move on. Secrets of Holland's Castle. I'm guessing this is part of a series because it does have the colon and it says Turtle Brothers Forever. So I'm not sure which one is the series name, if this is even a series. Written by J.N. Christiansen, this only has 5 ratings with a 4.6 average. So the 5 people that have rated it seem to have really enjoyed it. There's no additional tags, so let's dive into the synopsis. Rosalind clutched the bundled baby in her arms as she ran through the icy winds of Hollandsshire's brutal winter, shivering violently, but not from the cold. She shivered from fright and dread. The baby she held in her arms should have been loved and cared for like any other newborn, but the baby had been condemned to die by the king. His birth was against the law, and saving him would mean certain death if she was caught. Even the news of his birth would aid the evil Duke, Lord Raymond, in overthrowing the entire kingdom the entire kingdom. If Rosewynd's secret is discovered, the kingdom could crumble. Tortured by guilt in condemning the child, the king struggles to keep his family together. When a mysterious boy arrives at the castle, things become more dangerous as Lord Raymond plots the royal family's demise. In an effort to save his family and kingdom, the king has his young sons trained in survival skills for their protection. But when the secret of the new stranger is discovered, will the training be enough? So I'm guessing that young boy is the baby that should have been killed. So we'll see kind of what happens. I'm interested. That sounds intriguing to me. Okay. Next up, we're on the last two for this video. I have the Shield of... Okay, so this is either the Shield of Nike, or it's supposed to be pronounced like the shoe, which is Nike. So, not sure. And then it says, A War on the Gods companion story. This is book number 1 in War on the Gods companion story. This has 67 ratings with a 3.7 average. The tags on this are fantasy, and this actually says it's a novella, which the Kindle edition says it's only 91 pages, so definitely a novella. Valeria is in love with her best friend Greg, and has been for years, but they can't be together because after they graduate high school, they'll be on opposite sides of the country. This seems to be Valeria's greatest dilemma, until a freak storm ambushes the two on a hike a few miles outside their town. During the storm, Greg is injured, and a strange shield falls from the sky and knocks Valeria unconscious. When she wakes up, her whole world is turned upside down. Greg is missing. Her town has been annihilated. Deadly creatures roam, and the disembodied voice of a woman she knows nothing of talks to her from inside her own head. Okay. The woman says Greg has been taken, but that Valeria can save him and survive the perils awaiting her if she harnesses the gifts she was given at birth, and if she uses the shield that fell from the sky. But how can Valeria trust a woman she's never met? She'll have to rely on herself and face horrors she could never have imagined to save her best friend, and in the process discover her true identity. Okay. Alright, let's move on to the last one for this particular video, and this one is called Captivate. This is book number 1 in the Submerged Sun series, written by Vanessa Garden. This has 1,718 ratings with a 3.79 average. Okay. As far as the genre tags, we have fantasy, romance, mermaids, paranormal, and mythology. Are there any more? Science fiction. Okay. Got a few there. All right. The synopsis. Let's go ahead and get into that. In a glittering underwater world where danger lurks behind beauty and power. For the past 12 months since her parents' death, 17-year-old Miranda Sun has harbored a dark secret. A secret that has strained the close relationship she once shared with her older sister, Lauren. In an effort to repair this broken bond, Miranda's grandparents whisk the siblings away on a secluded beach holiday. Except before Miranda gets a chance to confess her life-changing secret, she's dragged underwater by a mysterious stranger while taking a midnight swim. So I'm guessing that's a merman. I'm guessing. Awakening days later, Miranda discovers that she's being held captive in a glittering underwater city by an arrogant young man named Marco, the king of this underwater civilization. 19-year-old Marco intends to marry Miranda in order to keep his crown from falling into the sinister clutches of his half-brother Demir. There's only one problem. Miranda is desperate to return home to right things with her sister, and she wants nothing to do with Marco. Trying to secure her freedom, Miranda quickly forms an alliance with Robbie, Marco's personal guard. However, she soon discovers that even underwater people are hiding dangerous secrets. Well, duh. So that's what I can say about that. But I am intrigued that this is mermaids, and we'll kind of see what happens there. So that's it for the young adult digital book haul. Again, these were all free on Amazon. I will list the titles of these books and the author in the description box. Let me know if you've read any of these books, have read from any of these authors before. Talk to me in the comments section below, and until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I'll talk to you later.